Today I'm going to do a blog post primarily for my readers. I mean, authors are welcome to listen. It mainly has to do with going slow and my process, and I don't know how interesting that is to anybody really, but you're welcome to listen. But I'm just trying to explain to the people who read my books why I'm not going to get as many books out as I have been. And I mean, as frustrating as it is, I think at this point it's more important that I give the story as much time to develop as it needs to, and to stop rushing things, because in the past I would rush things to kind of like get the books done, and I was trying to do these hard, fast deadlines and stuff, and that ended up wearing me out, and then I burned out. So I'm not doing that again. I've learned from my mistakes. So I'm just trying to figure out how the new process is going to go, I guess is the best way to say it. Because in the past, I would write Monday through Friday, 3,000 words a day. And that's like 15,000 words a week. You can make some pretty good traction doing that. Now, this time around, I am finding that 3 days a week. So I usually pick Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So I have those breaks. So I give myself those Tuesday and Thursday between, off to do other things. Like today's Tuesday, and I'm doing like this video/blog post instead of writing. And that gives me time to do my marketing, such as it is, because I'm not really into ads and stuff like that. I've never have been, but I do enjoy making blog posts, and I do enjoy making the videos. And I'm going to be doing a little bit of narration for Loving Eliza, my book, to put on YouTube and Rumble. Whereas this video here just goes straight to YouTube. And then I use that that's attached to my blog. But anyway, so I have found, I think this is going to be the happy medium between putting in the writing time and also like doing all the emails and book promotion and stuff, that I used to do. And the weekends are off because I do need to spend time with my family. You do have to spend time with your family, because and especially like kids and your husband, you got to nurture those relationships, because if you don't, you're going to end up like, oh man, I did all that work, but we're the people that I love in my life. So anyway, okay, getting back to like going slow, I have now I'm working on four stories at one time, but I kind of have to do it this way, because the 4th story is just fan fiction. It is not for anything I'm going to publish under my name. I'm not going to make any money off of it. This is just going to be a pure passion project. And I work on that about 500. Actually, sometimes I even get more in, just because the idea is already there, really, for this fan fiction piece. But I've tried stopping the fan fiction because I worked on it enough where I was finally able to write my other stuff. But when I stopped, about a week and a half later, I had all these dreams about this fan fiction piece. Well, okay, obviously my brain's like, you're going to write this whether you like it or not. But that's how it is with some writers, and that's why sometimes we write what we do, because our brains just keep picking at us, like, here's an idea. And if you don't write it, you're going to be dreaming about it. And then if you still don't write it down, I am just going to make it impossible for you to write anything else. And that's just how, the human brain can work. So I just gave in, and I said, fine, I'm doing the fan fiction piece. I'm going to do it under a different name and everything like that. And I'm just going to put it on a fan fiction site where it belongs. Because this is not something to make money at. It's just something to enjoy and have fun. And the funniest thing happened. As soon as I'm like, okay, you know what, I'm just going to give in, I had all these other ideas. This started almost exploding in my head. And it's this creative well. And when I was just focusing on the historical romances, the ideas to write and stuff like that, the well, I would say, be 3/4 full. Sometimes it's full on the well, but I have enough to sustain me for books to come and stuff like that. And I have it's been easier to actually write because I'm going slower in the writing. When I sit down to write, it's been a lot easier to get the words out, and things flow so much better. The characters are so much more alive. The scenes are so much more alive, and I can it's like a movie in my head, and everything is just like really vibrant in there. And I don't have to like really guess. I know exactly what's there, and all I have to do is write it down. But the side thing is, real quick, is that I can only write so many words on any given day, because I write to a certain point within the scene, and then it's like almost like my brain's like, okay, now we stop here, and then it's like I need time to think about what comes next. Often that's in the middle of a scene, but I kind of like doing that because then I come back and I'm like, well, I can see where I was, and it helps me to know where to go in that scene. I have a harder time if I finish up the entire scene. I have a harder time getting back into it because it's just easier. Even if I stop, like I finish up a chapter, I'll try to get like a paragraph into the next chapter, just so when I come back, it kind of helps my memory, like okay, this is what we did. And it helps maybe it helps me think when I'm not writing, just in the back of my mind, kind of like where I'm going when I next sit down to write. So, but I have found about 750 words, at least in the one book, I can do comfortably. And then it's been like 500 in the other two books that I'm writing. And that's kind of where the range kind of hits. But anyway, regarding the fan fiction piece, I've noticed since I gave in to doing that like I said, the explosion of ideas, and now I have like 13 story ideas, and half of these are not historical romance. They're just other things, because I've never been, as a reader, I have never been the kind of reader that was only with one genre. I love a multitude of genres, and I love them for different reasons, because they each seem to like focus in on different maybe storytelling aspects, or maybe emotion, and just maybe characterization. There's just something different about each of them, and I feel that it just kind of layers. Maybe I'm processing stuff as a storyteller from like everything, but I can't get something just from the one genre. I need something from a multitude of genres to kind of maybe do input, and that kind of gives me more of a a broader view maybe. And I don't know if that makes sense, but that's how my brain works. Okay, but going back to my books. Okay, so I am working on, as we know, like the Halloween story, Masquerade Bride, and that is due to come out September, October. At the rate I'm going, it's probably going to be October, because everything has just been so incredibly slow. But because we're already like hitting almost May 1st here, and I'm making this post on April 29th, I do not think that I have the time to write the Christmas story or the Valentine story for, this year, which is a real bummer, because I was looking forward to getting all those out, because to me, this is like a pretty exciting series. I like throwing in a little bit of magic, although it's really technology. I'm doing it more like futuristic technology, but in the Regency era, this is magic. So anyway, yeah, I hate to break the news, but yeah, I think I'm just gonna put the Christmas story and the Valentine story, and that would be the Wedding Carol for the Christmas, and It's a Wonderful Marriage for the Valentine book. I'm just gonna push that back to like next year. So we're looking more like, December 2026 for the Christmas story, and February 2027 for the other story. And this is what I'm saying, slow. This is so slow, and it is frustrating, because in the past, I would have been able to get all this stuff out in the same year pretty quick together. And I just can't seem to be able to do that anymore. Because when I have pushed myself, I did push myself to do 4 writing days one of these past weeks, and I felt so tired and worn out and exhausted. And I had trouble just like functioning, just doing chores. I don't know, all my energy was gone. So, I have to learn, I have limits, and I'm just going to have to go with those limits, as irritating as it is. So where I'm at, the hero least likely, I'm thinking it's going to be out in June. One person already got it back to me. I'm waiting on 2 others. And I want to give them a full month to work on it, because I think it's important that, people do have a real life outside of their work, that they have that work-life balance. That's important for everybody, because I think it keeps you sharp and on your toes to do that. And if it's hard for me to like just work, then, you know, it's going to be, I'm assuming it's going to be hard for other people. I don't know. Maybe there are people out there who just work and be able to manage it. But for me, I need a balance there to be at my best. So I want them to be at their best. So anyway, the Earl's Blue Stocking Bride, I am very happy with the progress of that story. I'm at 52,600 words as of yesterday. And I'm not sure how much longer this is going to be. I'm thinking at least 10,000 words longer. Probably longer than that. I'm really enjoying the world. I'm going to take my time and I'm going to build things up. So, and then I have The Preacher's Wife. Now this is the reason that I'm not getting a whole lot. The reason I only get a whole lot done in this specific book, The Preacher's Wife, is because I know, and I think I said this in another post, but I know I want to, like I'm starting here, and I know I want to be here. But the thing is, I am having so much trouble. Like, how do I get over to where I need to be? Because I know the key scene that I need to get to, and I really want to get there, and I'm excited to get to it. But I have to build up to it. I have to lay the foundation for that, for this, where I'm going to end up. I need it all to make sense, but to do that, I got to lay the foundation first. Now, some writers, they write ahead. They would just write the scene ahead. In the past, when I've done stuff like that, when I've written ahead, there has been, then I go back and I just try to fill in the blanks. Something usually comes up within that foundation that changes where I'm eventually wanting to be. And I have to rewrite the whole scene anyway. So I figure, why waste my time? This scene that I'm like anxious about may not even really happen, and it may not happen the way I think it's going to happen. So I'm just going to like take my time and just lay the foundation first. And if I can only like lay down the foundation like 100 or 200 words on a writing day, or maybe not even at all on that writing day, you know what? I'm just gonna go with it. Because it's more important to go slow and figure it out the correct way the first time. I am not the kind of writer who likes to go back and rewrite. I hate rewriting. I hate revising. I just like to get all my first draft and pretty much be like, okay, that's a complete book. We just have to polish it up. That's the kind of writer I am. And I know other writers out there who will, it's almost like they do a fleshed out outline first, and then they go back and then they fill out maybe the dialogue, maybe, let's say. And then they go back and then they put in like the feelings. And that works for them. That would drive me crazy, because once I know the story, once the story's finished in my head and I know where I am, like where I've been, where I'm going, and where like, okay, once everything is finished, once I hit the end, I'm ready to work on something else. At that point, I'm like, I already know everything that happens in the story. I know how everything turns out. There's no more surprises for me here. There's nothing else to learn. There's no more aha moments. I'm just not interested in this story. And then I'll just want to work on something else. So I have to go slow and take the time to do all the steps in order to keep interested in the story. And maybe that's part of being a discovery writer. Part of being a discovery writer, the thrill of discovery. And this is writing by the seat of your pants, kind of in a way too, although not completely. There's a little distinction between discovery writer and being a pantser, and I really don't know how to define it, but it's a little different. But anyway, because I think it could be a plotter and also kind of discovery, because some people plot slow and people plot like a little at a time. So it's kind of like they're plotting, but then they write that, and then they're plotting again, and so they write a little bit more. So that kind of is a plotter kind of discovery, in that way. But me, it's pure discovery. I just write, like, not going in. I go into a story. I basically have like 1 to 2 sentence description of the book in my head, and I know the characters' names, and I know the first scene. And that's all I know going in. Because I can think a certain character is a certain way, but then as soon as I start writing the book, I'm like, wow, this character is not like what I thought this character was going to be at all. So I have to throw all that out. Or I can go in thinking, I think the scene's going to go this way. And it starts going that way. And then halfway into the scene, it just takes on a tangent that I didn't see coming. But I have learned over the years that if I trust my gut and I just pursue that course, that the story turns out so much better than if I'm trying to force whatever I was perceiving or whatever I was trying to go for. If I'm not trying to force it, if I try to force it, the story just isn't very good, as good. And not only that, but it tends to stall out if I'm trying to force anything. So I've learned I just got to go with the flow on it and let it go as it comes. And I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, The Preacher's Wife, Masquerade Bride, The Earl's Blue Stocking Bride. Yeah, I think I pretty much cover all my bases. And you know, I think the most important thing is that, you know, my brain just, guys, you know, I saw a squirrel like in my head. Okay, this is how the writer's brain works. I'm on a track, I'm thinking of something, and then I just like, my mind goes blank. I don't know. But we'll just leave the post there. I mean, as like ridiculous as this like final conclusion and this like closing part is, I'm just gonna let it go there. So I hope everyone has a wonderful day.